This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Off the Clock Shop Talk. Thank you guys. Obviously, every week we thank you for tuning in, for the likes, subscribe, shares, for following us on Instagram, for following us, or for subscribing on YouTube. Obviously, this week it's me and George.
Just us today
This week. I know we haven't made you guys suffer through me and George in a while, but I'm glad you guys are tuning in and checking it out. Hopefully this week won't disappoint. We did want to go over a couple things real quick. This episode will be released Friday. We're shooting this obviously a week before, but this episode will be released Friday, so you'll have 4.5 more days to get your entries in for the jacket. Check us out on Instagram. The official posts and all the rules are there. You know, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and shoot us your email entry. We got, quite a bit now.
Yeah, if you can be specific and like screenshot it, that would help. We're getting a bunch of people just saying done. I think it's because we said just say that you did it, and everyone's like done, and I'm like, I don't know what you did.
but that being said, you were following the rules.
Yeah, you're following the rules. We kind of fucked that up
to the T. It's the first giveaway, so give us some leeway.
Yeah, give us some leeway there.
But that being said, get those entries in. We have quite a few, and I think maybe on Instagram we'll throw something out this week that you could get an extra entry. So we will definitely be taking care of all that stuff, making sure that all your entries are logged, and we will do the drawing live on YouTube and Instagram on Wednesday the 31st, correct?
Wednesday the 31st.
So be ready for it. Be looking out for it. I'm excited, for whoever wins. I honestly, I think I've seen a couple entries that aren't even Teamsters in there.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. That's great.
Super cool, dude, because that's what we're kind of after is involvement and people getting involved in the labor movement as a whole.
Yeah.
Get those entries in. Check out the post. We'll be on there kind of monitoring everything and making sure all the posts get in. Make sure you do all those things, though. You need to do those 3 things. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube, and email us. You got to do all 3 or you're not entered. Okay. We had another rule that got removed due to some issues, some Instagram issues.
Yeah.
We were on there saying fuck Sabas, and I don't think Instagram liked it very much. So,
so don't got to do that.
So you don't have to do that. But that being said, get those entries in. We're kind of excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun little live event.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I don't know yet because it's a week in advance, but hopefully we can get the guy who donated the jacket, James Placentia. Shout out to you, brother.
Shout out.
Longtime steward. So hopefully we can get him here and, at least to witness and to,
I would actually like to have him on when we receive the jacket to give it to whoever won. It
would be super cool. Be super cool.
Cool. I think we're ready to dive into today's episode, huh?
Yeah, sounds like it. So
sounds like it.
What do we have in store for you today? So basically we wanted to kind of go over a couple things, some union business, some 952 business, some union all across the board business. But first thing we wanted to touch on was the strike or the ending of the strike for TransDev, formerly First Transit, subcontractor for OCTA. I know that's a lot, but that's what was going on there. We cover, 952 covers OCTA and their subcontractors. Yeah. I don't know if we cover all of them, but we do, TransDev is one of those, and we cover them, and they have actually the language they got a long time ago to subcontract a good portion of the work. So within their contract, they actually have subcontracting language.
Yeah.
This was one of their subcontractors, and they went on strike. A lot of it, was due to wages, but also some language change. They were looking to stop their 2.5 hour unpaid lunches.
That's so
where
wild.
They would have to sit there.
Fucking long.
Right? They would have to sit there. They were allowed to leave the bus. They couldn't drive the bus around.
Yeah.
So they were allowed to leave the bus there, and the company literally said, "Go ahead and Uber wherever, or do whatever you got to do to get
use
your lunch.
your hard-earned money to go,
to go eat lunch.
Go eat lunch
and use the restroom."
2.5 hours is wild.
2.5 hours.
That's bonkers.
So, with this ratified contract, they definitely knocked that down quite a bit. So they still have to take a lunch, which, everywhere we would never fight for you guys not to take a lunch. But that being said, this was a little bit different. They got that knocked down. They definitely got more in wages, and, they ended up taking a vote on it last Wednesday, and it ratified. They ratified the contract.
That's cool.
So, it's exciting. It was a tough, long, drawn-out strike, honestly.
They were on strike for how long?
14 days. They were 14 and a half days.
That's a long time.
So, it was quite a long time. It's a long time to be on the streets. I know there was some worries, and just like anywhere, there's a lot of uncertainty with the strike. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know that what you're fighting for is a good cause. And you just kind of sometimes companies
you have to fucking stick it to them.
Yeah, sometimes companies don't want to fucking budge, and they don't want to give you what you need, whether that be a living wage or whether that be not having to take.
They're like, hey, we want you to drive for us. We just don't want to pay you.
Yeah, we want employees. We just don't want to have to pay them.
We just don't want to pay them. That's it.
We need people to drive the buses for sure.
Yeah.
That being said, it just it was long. It was tough. All the BAs, I know yesterday, which was our general membership meeting, Eric, wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to all the stewards that came out, all the other crafts that came out. There was people from CVS, from Albertsons, from UPS, from some of the other bus companies that all came down, showed support. There was politicians that came down, showed support, brought food to the strikers, and obviously all the BAs. We all had to take multiple shifts during the week on top of doing our normal job, take multiple shifts during the week to cover the 24 hours,
the strike line
a day that we had to be there.
Yeah.
And I got to hand it to those guys. They're one of the toughest groups that I've seen. I hope and pray that if we ever go on strike at UPS, God forbid, if we ever go on strike, I hope that we're that
united,
that ready for the fight. It was cool to watch, honestly, dude. I mean, these guys were there walking the picket line the whole time. They had some hard-nosed stewards there, and they were just, running the show, just like, hey, you guys, talking to their members, and you guys got to walk the line, and you guys got to do this. And it was really cool to see just a group of workers ready for the fight.
Yeah.
Just ready, dude. I mean, it was something else. So shout out to them. I'm so glad that they got, enough to ratify the contract. We've talked about contracts in the past, and you're never going to get it all.
Yeah.
You're just not.
You have to work towards like a goal, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned that before. Like sometimes it takes multiple iterations of that contract before you finally reach your goal, but you have to, like we said before, you got to put your foot in the door and, get a little bit of that language. That way you can expand upon it later.
Exactly. It was awesome to see their tenacity in the fight within them. So we can take a page out of their book, to be honest. I hope that when and if we ever have to go on strike, or if we have other strikes with other industries, I hope they're that ready for the battle, because those guys were hard-nosed. At 14 days, to be honest, they were ready to go further. They were like, hey, if we can't get some movement, because there was no movement for those 14 days. There was, up until that last day when the company finally came back with their last, best, and final, there just wasn't any movement. They said, we don't have anything for you. We're not going to give you anything. And that's really what it comes down to. And those are the things that cause a strike, right? You have a certain expectation of what you need going forward to work for this company. maybe like with them, it was some language changes. I know it wasn't just the breaks and lunches. I know there was some termination language that they changed.
Okay.
People were being terminated for like close calls, like if a dog ran in front of your bus and you had to slam on your brakes or swerve or whatever.
If you did not kill the dog?
Yeah, a close call could actually get you terminated there.
That's fucking crazy.
It's nuts, right?
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the things that was addressed in that contract, another thing. So they got, like I said, enough to get them to ratify the contract. Did they get everything? No.
Yeah.
No one really does. It is negotiations. At the end of the day, the company still wants to pay you nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And
literally.
if there's no movement, causes a strike, this is what happens.
Yeah.
And I got to hand it to Eric Jimenez and the administration here. They're always up for the fight. If you want to take them on, if you want to take us on, Teamsters, 952 Teamsters, you better be ready to get punched in the face.
Better be ready. Coming for you.
So that's it basically for the strike. All right. So like I said, that's kind of it. That was it, in regards to the TransDev strike. Like I said, congratulations to them for getting a contract that they could live with for now.
Yeah.
Also, George, you wanted to bring up some other stuff in union business.
New union business with Medieval Times. They are still on strike. So they are a little over 100 days now.
100 days. And shout out to Jake.
Days.
Who was on a couple weeks ago, Jake the Knight.
Jake the Knight.
Yeah, he's still out there fighting hard. They are still fighting hard. The company doesn't want to budge, and
they're not budging, and they're still flying in. They're still flying in scabs.
Yeah, flying scabs. You gotta love the flying scabs, or not.
Don't do your best to show your support. Go down there, wear your colors, or wear your barn, your Teamster gear, all that stuff. And if you know anyone that's gonna go, tell them, hey, they're on strike. They are a newly formed union. They need all the support they can get.
Yeah,
there's so many other like entertainment venues in Buena Park there that you can go to. I mean, there's a pirate show. You can go to Knott's Berry Farm. Porto's is right there. They have
you can figure out something to do other than crossing a picket line. I'll tell you that much. And I will say, just in talks with Jake, and I'm not sure if he said it on the show or not, but he did have some unionists, right? Some teachers that were supportive, I guess, in some ways, but they still crossed and went in.
Yeah.
And I understand the gripe why they had booked the show a year prior, and there was a lot going on there. But I mean, if you can at all help it, don't cross a picket line.
Don't ever cross a picket line.
These are people, and I think we lose sight of that sometimes. These are people fighting for
their livelihood.
For their livelihood, exactly.
Yeah.
They got families. They got all this stuff riding on this, and 100 days. We went 14 days with TransDev, and it was brutal, man. It was and these guys, and I'm not saying just the work aspect of things was a lot, but I mean, you're talking about people that aren't getting paychecks, 2 weeks of not working, and they put it all on the line, and it's not just for them. And that's the thing that some of us have to remember too, is it's not just for you right now, because it's for the generation coming behind you.
Yeah.
If you don't take a stand and fight for certain things now, the gap gets wider and wider and wider.
100%.
It really does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, keep that in mind when you're in the area, whatever. If you can pass by, honk. If you can stop for a minute, shoot. If you can make it a day and go out there while they're doing, one of their shows. I know that they have a strike schedule. We can go ahead and post that.
I'll post that right here.
They have a strike schedule that they do weekly, so they're there for every show. They've had a lot of trouble, with cops. They've
had a lot of trouble with the law enforcement, and they've had a lot of trouble with just not being able to make any money because they've been out for 3 months now, more than 3 months, and they do have a GoFundMe, and I'm going to put that here. So if you guys can, help them out just so they can get a little bit of money to feed themselves before they go back to work.
Yeah, definitely.
Help.
I mean, whatever you can do, right? I mean, if you can give money, great.
Yeah.
If you can't, maybe you can stop by and show your support.
Yeah.
But definitely don't cross.
Definitely do not cross. Yeah.
Do not cross that picket line. That is number one, no.
Yeah.
You're a union person, or even if you just respect unions and you care about people's livelihoods, don't do it. In fact, if you know anybody that's going, you might want to call them and say, hey, you probably should go see Pirates because they're not on strike.
Yeah. They're not on strike, and apparently the chicken is better.
Yeah, the chicken does suck at many times. Before they were on strike, I had been there. I've been there as a kid, and then, I've taken my kids since. But chicken sucks.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I went for the first time ever, I think 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had never been. It's always been down the street, and I just never been. I was just like, I'll get to it someday. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
It's a castle. They're gonna move a whole castle.
What, are they gonna move a castle? Who's gonna even buy a castle?
Who's gonna buy a castle?
Yeah, even if they try to sell it, who's gonna buy a castle? You want to buy a castle and make a McDonald's out of it, or what? It'd be the number one McDonald's.
That would be the number one McDonald's. Fucking eating a Big Mac, watching horses nights.
Yeah. Hey, it'd be better than the fucking chicken. For real.
All right, so as you can see, we're out here, we're close to day, I think 90, give or take, of the strike, and a lot of people have been asking how long we're gonna be out here or what the situation is, and what I wanna tell everybody out there is that we're not going back in until we win. There is no situation in which we are losing this fight, all right? So we will not go back inside that building until they address a lot of the issues and they can make sure that we have a safe and productive and healthy work environment and that we get paid our fair wages here. So we will win in respect to that. As you can see, we have a lot of help today, so please come out and help us some more because it sounds like we're going to be out here for a little bit longer. But yeah, thank you guys.
But, that being said, we'll try to keep you guys updated on stuff, union stuff. If you have, you're part of maybe another union or another local and you got a strike going on, shoot us the information. Maybe we can have a chat about it. Maybe we can get you on the phone and we can go over, some of that stuff because we all got to support each other. Workers, period, laborers, we need to support each other. We are fighting a giant in corporate America. Yeah.
Or if you want to even unionize,
definitely. We have some organizers, some hungry organizers. Yep. So if, and I have, or we need tips sometimes on places that want to get organized that are ready. So those are like the low hanging fruit, right? I mean, sometimes you'll go into a place and you have to talk to them and explain to them what benefits they get out of joining a union, better medical, better fringe benefits for sure, better pay, better PTO.
You get more job security. Yeah, and that's a big deal right there.
Yeah, for sure. So as we move forward in this union stuff, we just got to be united at all fronts. I know that one of the things we've talked about before is like the politics in unions, and I know it's not just internally, but sometimes it's with other unions, maybe that cover the same industry or whatever. Yeah. I know there's a lot of infighting sometimes there, but at the end of the day, the laborers benefit when we all stick together. You know what I mean? So just continue to do our thing and continue to push for the Teamsters and for laborers in general. All right, so let's get into a little bit of 952 business. Let's talk about that. Yesterday, which obviously for you guys is a week and a day ago.
Yeah. It's some old shit.
Yeah, some old shit. But we had our general membership meeting. We went over some stuff in that meeting. One of the things we wanted to touch on was the strike fund, right?
Yeah.
And what all that entails. We won't give specifics, but what is a strike fund? Let's talk about that. Okay. So a strike fund really is a fund that we as the members, put into, and you would be able to draw an extra benefit on top of the strike fund that the IBT has. So if you don't know, if you're covered under the IBT, I believe everyone is entitled to strike pay, right? If you go on strike, they give you, obviously it's not your full wage.
It's not your full wage, yeah.
So it can get a little tight, but it's something to get you by, so
better than no money.
Yeah. That's kind of the way they do it. And some locals across the country, they have individual strike funds for their local, right? And something that was talked about even with the previous administration, something that's been we've tried to do here at 952 for a while, but it hasn't gotten done. And Eric's kind of taken the bull by the horns and said, hey, we should probably do this, especially coming into the current labor climate, in my opinion, right? We've seen a lot more strikes lately. We've seen a lot of I don't know what you call them, like growing pains with the economy, just some stuff reverting back to old. We've talked about child labor, right? Coming back. We've talked about all this stuff, right?
Go handle that heavy machinery.
Yeah. You're a machinist now.
Yeah.
6 years old is our
6
cutoff.
years old.
When I was 6 years old, I had a full-time job.
No, but I mean, a lot of that stuff's coming back, and we're having those fights again. So we've seen more strikes. We've seen more union involvement, union activity. We've seen a lot of stuff, right? So that being said, Eric, like I said, has taken the bull by the horns and revisited the strike fund and setting that up for 952. I know we're going to have some meetings here pretty soon in regard to the strike fund. I believe next month we are going to have like a proposal meeting or something where they propose it and they kind of explain it, and then give it a month or so, and I believe they'll take the vote. But that being said, we'll give some more information as the weeks go on. The administration is looking at getting this done. Yeah. Now, obviously, the members have the choice whether they want the strike fund or not. For those at UPS, which would be our biggest group, I know there's always been some hesitation, but with a strike looming this year, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense to have the fund to be able to get a little extra cushion if, God forbid, we ever do go on strike. And I know, some of the other crafts within the local, they, may have a tougher fight on their hands, and maybe a strike is more not inevitable, but the strike is more, I can't think of the word, dude. Anyways, it's just the chance of a strike is more prevalent. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Right. The chance of a strike is more prevalent for them. So they might be more inclined to vote for the strike fund. But that being said, I mean, UPSers should understand that at any time the company, the way things are trending within, the climate, the labor climate that we always talk about, the way things are trending, a strike could be looming for sure. And I know this year is one of those years where everyone's talking about it. It's all over the news. It's on everybody's mind.
People have asked me, like, while I'm en route, they're like, "Are you guys going on strike?" I'm like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
It's like, they're having negotiations right now.
You could ask Sean O'Brien right now. Yeah. Are we going to go on strike? I don't think he would be able to answer the question. It all depends on whether the company wants to play ball or not.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, wrong, right, or indifferent, we took that company, and I know a lot of you guys out there, laborers, you took your company through the pandemic, and you still got up every day and you had to go to work, and you didn't have the opportunity to be, and not saying that you weren't scared, but you didn't have that luxury of not going to work and not facing those fears every day and getting up and putting yourself at risk and putting your family at risk, and you didn't have that. So as we go into negotiations for these companies, coming up, we're like, hey, it's time. You guys made a lot of money, especially UPS, e-commerce. Those companies that were able to stay open made money during the pandemic. They just did. Like
they fucked
a lot of
money.
companies didn't. A lot of companies closed their doors, or moved to e-commerce, or whatever they had to do to stay alive. And some companies didn't make it out, right? But those ones that did, they made a lot of money, and they made that off our back and our risk at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we're asking to be compensated fairly and to get a piece of that pie, because
I don't think that's unreasonable.
right. I mean, at UPS, they didn't offer us, what do you call it? Hazard pay, right?
Nope.
They didn't offer hazard pay.
Nope.
In fact, I think a bunch of people were asking for it.
They were.
And they were like, nope.
They were like, pass on that.
Hard pass.
Hard
Get
pass,
back to
guys.
work.
Sorry. But that being said, now we're in negotiations, and I think it's time for UPS to give us a piece of that, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
whatever way they divide that up, I know the part-timers need more money and all this stuff. But anyways, kind of getting back to it, the strike fund, that is a thing. If you're in 952, we are looking to establish that local strike fund.
Yeah.
So keep your ears open. We'll kind of keep you guys informed. It is what it is. And if it gets voted down, it gets voted down. At the end of the day, it's the members who decide. That being said, I think
can't really.
personally,
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Plus, it's another step to be like, hey, we're not fucking around here.
Yeah.
It's like we're setting in place, like a backup. It's like we're ready. What are you gonna do?
And these are the things that we've talked about in the past that the company pays attention to, right? They're paying attention to involvement. If they don't see a bunch of involvement, or if they see a lot of infighting or fighting amongst the members as far as whether they want to go on strike or they don't, or, if they get that temperature where they think that not a lot of the members are willing to go on strike, then that makes them more inclined to push it.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, no, we're not going to give you that.
They're like, no,
We'll see. We'll call your bluff, basically.
Yeah.
But when you set up like a strike fund, then they kind of consider that too. And they go, oh, well, these guys have a little bit of extra protection.
Yeah.
So it would make it easier to go on strike. Not that it's ever easy.
Yeah.
But it would make it easier to go on strike. Like I said, keep your ears open, and we'll kind of provide the information as it comes. It's just another thing that's on the radar.
Yep.
And talking about, local 952 business, we're going to make a phone call. We wanted to get Eric Jimenez on here to, you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. We'll discuss some of this stuff with Eric.
Yep.
Let's see, Eric. Hey, what's going on, brother? So we're live on the show.
Nice.
We just wanted to go over, we were actually discussing some of the topics we discussed at the general membership meeting this week, one of them being the strike fund. Just kind of talking a little bit about that. Do you want to give us a run through of when we're going to have those meetings and all that stuff?
Yes. So and first off, let me apologize for not being in person on the show. Always like to be on the camera, but I am.
Of course you do.
I just touched down.
If it's any consolation, the phone is touching a mic.
Round of UPS national negotiations, so I'm actually in my room unpacking while I'm talking to you guys. But yes, the strike fund. Obviously, the strike fund has been something that has been a hot topic in our local for quite some time, even prior to myself taking over. A couple of administrations have tried getting the strike fund at 952. When we took over, it was made it was really loud and clear from our members, especially the members coming from local 630 and 848 who had merged into our local back in 2017. Both those locals had a strike fund, and the members that merged over, along with some of our members from grocery, original members from 952 grocery and beverage, had made it very, very clear that they wanted a strike fund. We had talked about it, chit-chatted about it. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into getting a strike fund going. In June of last year, we had a member motion and another member second the the motion to get a strike fund going at 9:52. So we will be, it's been, like I said, it's been quite some time. And thank the members for giving us, for being patient and giving us some time to get it going. Obviously, our first 3 years was pretty rough, trying to get this local back on track and going through the contracts and going through COVID. But they understood, they had the patience. But now it's time to get it going for them. We will be reading a resolution in the June membership meeting, which we will read openly, stating that it is being read to put it into the bylaws, that we will have a strike fund at Local 952. And about a month later, per our bylaws, a month later, we will debate the subject of strike vote, and we will vote that strike fund as how it's going to be voted, whether it's voted there. I think there's some ideas of voting it over a couple days, so everybody, and when I say everybody, so all the members have several days to come in and vote it, and make their decision. We want to try to make everything as transparent as possible. We will be educating our stewards, having steward meetings from now till the time we vote it. So if any members ask any questions, they know what it is, what the strike fund is, what it consists of, what members will be obligated to contribute to the strike fund. Again, we are trying to make it as transparent as possible. We will be sending out letters to the members, posting it up on our social media. We will be posting it up on union boards. Again, we want our members to know that a strike fund is a hot topic. It's a big issue, and again, it's not as much as me personally, Eric Jimenez, think a strike fund is a valuable tool in regards to helping our members have the leverage to get a contract. I personally think it's huge. You just saw we had a bus strike, for 14 days.
You were just talking about that.
Yes, and I can almost guarantee you those people wish they would have had an extra $200 or some odd dollars on top of the strike fund check that they were getting from the IBT. But can't cry over spilt milk. But again, this is something coming from the members. The members have asked for it. Several industries, our Coca-Cola beverage, Pepsi, CVS, Albertsons. We even had UPS ask and say, hey, why don't we have a strike fund? So when we go into huge negotiations like it is for every UPS negotiation, something to protect us here at the local too. So again, it was motioned by the members. It was asked to be done by the members, and the members will have the right to say we want it or we don't want it.
Nice. All right. And is there any other than the strike fund? Is there anything other 952 business pertinent information, anything like that?
Well, I mean, I think we just touched base. I just touched base on it a little bit ago, a couple of seconds ago. The strike. We had a strike going on for 14 days here at Local 952.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of our transit bus companies, the paratransit, the members that pick up the elderly, the sick, people that can't drive, and they take them to appointments, our doctor's offices, or sometimes even just to go do shopping or to the movies. But again, our members walked off about 15 days ago with several issues still on the table. Just this past Thursday, the members ratified their contract and went back to work. It was voted in from the time we started the strike to the time we ended the strike. Several of the issues that were on the table were taken care of and addressed, including getting more money on the table. So these drivers will be getting 16% raise over 3 years, which I think comes out to about $4. I think it's about $4.10, $4.20 over 3 years. So a huge win there. They got more money in their pension. One of the big issues that was really bothering the members and the local. Once again, these transit companies think that these workers are just machines. They're robots that don't need rest breaks.
Yeah.
They
don't need to go pee.
Really don't need to go pee. Don't need to eat.
What are you talking about, pee?
But in reality, one of the big things on the table is they wanted these members to take 2.5-hour lunches out in the field. So that meant, hey, Teamster bus driver drops his last, client off has to sit in a parking lot nearby where he dropped that last person off, or try to find something in the vicinity within so much amount of time. And I'm going to sit there for 2.5 hours unpaid.
Wow.
Unpaid. I can't run the bus. I'm going to sit here in the heat. I'm going to sit here in the cold during the winter. And the company's excuse was, well, go find a tree to sit under. Go sit and go
Take a blanket.
Take a nature walk.
Go take a nature walk. You know what I mean?
In the city.
Sit in a restaurant and hopefully they don't notice that you've been taking up a table for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? Now obviously we do have a lot of restaurants out there that know, the job that these people do for our community, so they will be respectful and allow them to use the restroom.
Yeah.
But hey, 2.5 hours is a pretty long time to take up a table. So, we beat that down. We beat that down all the way to a maximum of a 90-minute lunch. Right. But there's the understanding that as we work with the company to get more drivers into the seats of those buses, that they will lower those lunch breaks to hour lunch and even start seeing some 30-minute lunches.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
And that's one of the things we discussed is, about like big issues that need to be addressed in contracts incrementally. We were just talking about some of the issues that we deal with while negotiating contracts, right? That you guys deal with while negotiating contracts, that you guys might be really far apart on. But people need to understand that we need a foot in the door first, and we need to make steps towards the right direction, and then we attack the next contract, and so on and so forth.
Correct, and I think you hit, you kind of put it right there, John. You know what I mean, and I'm pretty sure George listening too. But that's right. A lot of this stuff hasn't been overlooked, specifically in Local 952 hasn't been looked at. Our contracts have been very complacent. They haven't been updated for a long time. So, as we go through the contracts, we try to update them. Our attorneys try to update them with the help of our attorneys. They scrub them, what we call scrubbing. They'll go through the contract. They'll take stuff that's against the law out or things that have changed due to laws, and then they'll pick things out that we really need to address. And a lot of the times we do. We fight hard to get those main issues into that contract, things that really affect our members. And at times, we may have to leave one or two of those things on the table. But, what needs to be seen is as we go through this contract and as we chip away chunks of the rock from this mountain that's been sitting in front of our members for so long, and these hurdles that they've been trying to get over, as we knock these hurdles down, it's a start. We're moving forward, and although, as Teamsters, we always want to take everything we possibly can the very first time. A lot of times, it's not doable. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But, our foot's in the door, over there at the transit. And I think across the board, for transit, as you look at it, we had the bus drivers about 1.5 years ago almost strike. Yeah. Settled that contract with just huge improvements that hadn't been seen over 15, 20 years in that contract. We went on to the mechanics of OCTA, and again, it's just a contract that had been complacent, very not touched for quite some time. Mm-hmm. We took those mechanics out on strike.
Shut down the whole county.
Shut down the whole county for about 4 days, and those mechanics came back and ratified a contract overwhelmingly that gave them all the things that they were looking for. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now you have these paratransit, which is subcontract work from OCTA, they took a stance and said, hey, we need to stand up for what's right for us. We got, a leadership. We got other members. Our local union they actually, they're actually supporting us. We have a lot of support from other industries. Yeah. We feel safe enough to walk out. They did. And they got a contract that, like I said, I was hearing people saying, hey, we've never seen so much money on the table. This is the first time we've ever seen so much money. But really, they were just happy about their contract language, protecting them from long lunches, protecting them from just the company doing whatever discipline they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it. Yeah. Just like I said, huge, major improvements for our transit industry over the last 1.5 years, and we're going to keep building on it.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. And yeah, we not to to toot your horn here for you, but we gave you a lot of credit just earlier about the support and the willingness to fight. I think it was lacking for a long time here.
A lot.
But it's awesome to see an administration that's young, still full of piss and vinegar, as we say, and just ready to take on whatever company wants to take us on.
Yeah, and I think that's the message we're trying to get across. I mean, obviously nobody ever wants to go on strike, and I think our members understand that. But, I said it this weekend at the general membership meeting, the word strike needs to be something that the members don't fear. We need to embrace that word. That's our tool. Like anything else in life, when something pushes you into the corner, you're going to attack. You're going to do whatever you need to do to protect your livelihood, whether it's physical harm or whether it's financial harm that the company's trying to do to you. You have to stand up for yourself, and strike's the way we stand up for ourselves. That's the way we protect ourselves, and we need to start turning that word to the companies. And that's what we're trying to do here at 952 is strike doesn't scare us as members. Strike doesn't scare us as Teamsters. We have support not only just in 952, but from all the locals in Southern California and all the locals in the IBT from Washington, D.C. We have that support. So if the company wants to draw the line in the sand, guess what? The Teamsters are going to cross it, and we're going to go ahead and you want to see who's going to be the bigger, badder guy. Local 952 will take you on.
We're going to punch you in the face. That's what.
Punch you right in the face.
Exactly. We're going to take you on, and we're going to kick the shit out of you, and our members will do whatever they need to do to protect themselves.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, if you don't have any other pressing 952 business that you want to go over, I was going to beg you for a little bit of a contract update. I know everybody out there in YouTube and Spotify world is interested. Obviously, you can't give us everything, and there's still a lot open. We've only been through 1 week of national negotiations for UPS. But is there is there anything you can give us in regard to that?
I mean, yeah, you know what? I mean, and once again, this is no, there is no brownout. There is no way. Again, we have a strategy that's been set, and it's been agreed to upon by not only representatives that are sitting at the Southwest table, the West table, and the rest of the supplements across the country, but at the national. And remember, we do have rank and file on all these committees. You know what I mean? And they've agreed that the strategy that we're taking, which is, hey, we'll give the members as much information as possible, but just enough to where we can't let the company know how we're going to attack them. I keep saying over the years that, when you go to, or over the last couple months, when you go to war, you don't tell the enemy how you're going to attack them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't tell them how you're.
You mean the Japanese didn't call us before they attacked Pearl Harbor? They didn't let us know.
And we didn't call the Germans when we stormed
Normandy. Exactly.
And we didn't do it. And so, I mean, like I said, but, with that being said, first I will say, get that app. Everything that we, and when I say we, Chairman Victor Mineros, myself as co-chairman, Carlos Schumann from Local 104 as a co-chairman, myself as a Western region representative, being able to sit at the Western table, and now myself as a national negotiating
committee member?
National Negotiating Committee, committee member, and as a package representative. Everything that is said on those apps, on that app and those updates, all comes from rank and file. It all comes from committee members. It's not like they just, the IVT makes up their own stories. They literally get us on the phone and say, hey, Eric, I need an update. Get me something ASAP. They will
and you guys give updates weekly, daily. You guys give updates all the time, right?
Weekly. I mean, as you can see, you know what I mean? We have rank and file members that are constantly giving updates of themselves every day, which we never saw in the past. We never saw a rank and file guy do a video saying what he sees, you know what I mean, or what he was able to talk about. It's new. So like I said, that app is a really valuable, piece, and everybody has to understand, just my local alone, or our local alone, I would say, 25, about 2,000 members, about 9,500. Remember, 2,000 UPSers. I'd love to call every single one of them, and I truly mean that. I'd love to call every single one of them and say, hey, this is what's going on. And it's unfortunate we can't do that. It's just hard, and that's where, like I said, we try to get as much information out as possible. As time goes on, we will talk and we will have meetings. But get the app. long story short,
get the app, and we'll put that up on the show.
Yeah, stop making an excuse. You want to be updated. You want to know what's going on. Get the app. That's the most up-to-date information. And Sean O'Brien and the IBT have made it very clear that they're going to keep the members involved. As for the update, we'll go into that. Southwest, everybody knows the Southwest had a tentative agreement with a lot of language change that will benefit our members. It addressed our part-time work week and work hours. It addressed, the ability for all members to better themselves by moving into positions, full-time positions, and to positions that will make them more money. Like I said, there was a lot of change in the Southwest. At the West, you know what I mean? Huge. One of the things that our members, and again, this is all stuff coming off, what you'll see on the IBT website.
Yeah.
At the West, there was a lot of talk around the country that our members were upset about how their grievances take too long to address.
Yep, the grievance
they were
procedure.
taking too long, exactly, too long to adjudicate, and interpretation cases. Well, that's one thing that our members still get upset. But imagine the guy that was terminated, that he feels 110% that he was terminated for an unjust reason, and he has to go through a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, sometimes a year, sometimes arbitration.
Yeah.
It was a long, drawn-out process. And for a long time, UPS has known that they can hold our members out of work, starve them, and then come to them and say, hey, we'll give you this, this jacked up, piece of shit offer to come back to work. But because
we know you need the money.
You need the money.
Exactly. So, we heard it loud and clear across the country. And, at the West, the grievance procedure was overhauled really, really big, in a way that I think our members will see a lot of the grievances adjudicated a lot quicker. We put teeth in this West contract that will affect all the Southwest too, that teeth that I think we'll be able to sink into the company and say, hey, guess what, man? You're going to hear this grievance on a certain amount of time. So again, like I said, members, we want our grievances heard. We want them taken care of. I'm fired. I need to get back to work, but I don't want to have to bend over for this company to get my job back. We heard them loud and clear, and we made some changes. So that's pretty big for us over there.
Huge,
again,
honestly.
some part-time issues. Yeah, huge, massive. Again, some part-time issues were taken care of in the West. And again, guys, for anybody that listens to this, the part-timers, it's not a slogan. It's not just a catchphrase. And when I say we, starting from Sean O'Brien, Fred Zuckerman, to all the regions, to all the supplements, all the way down to the riders, us Southwest, the part-time talk has been reality. We are pushing. I think a vice president by the name of Rick Hicks said it the best that I've heard so far. I mean, everybody says it a great way, but his was it's the year of the part-timer.
Yeah.
It is. This is the year of the part-timer, and we're fighting for it. And obviously we've had, our local alone had a part-timer and a steward under the automotive and utility addendum that represents a lot of the part-timers. So they got to see firsthand how hard we're pushing for part-timers.
Yeah. So,
but that, locally, that's, kind of an update. I mean, obviously, the national is the big talk right now. Sean, I was there the first week on April 17th, when Sean told him we would not go into negotiations for the national until the company got off their butts and started negotiating and getting some agreements with the supplemental and riders and addendums. He made it very clear that those needed to be fixed before we could start nationals. And it worked. I'm proud to say his strategy's working and us helping his strategy, in a small amount of time, which was about 5 days, 24 hours a day. We saw about 40 supplements, 30 of them were still open, dropped down to about four or five within a week's time, because and this wasn't just that you go get it done. This was literally, we were calling the Marble Palace, we were calling the IBT saying, hey, they're not moving on this. Sean himself, not, hey, you go do this. Sean himself or Fred himself would pick up the phone, talk to a labor manager and say, hey, get off your ass. Our Western region or our Southwest region is not going to get off this, and you better move it. And within minutes, we get the labor manager knocking on our door saying, okay, we're going to talk to you about this, and we're going to give in. You know what I mean? So it worked really well. I got to give it to them. We are, like I said, we came back not last week, but the week before, and we did our second round of negotiations. And at that point, we pushed forward into national negotiations. We started national negotiations, and I want to make it very, very clear, and it's already been said by Fred Zuckerman, our GST, our General Secretary Treasurer. It was agreed upon, and the two the two riders that were still open agreed and said, hey, guys, we can handle our riders. We will keep negotiating, but you guys push forward in the national. We have 360,000 Teamsters across the country that are waiting for their contract to be handled. Go for it, hammer it out. We'll be negotiating in the background. But like I said, General Secretary Treasurer Fred Zuckerman said very loud and clear that at any time, if we feel you're trying to sandbag these two supplements that are left open, we will shut down national negotiations. So It's a team effort. It wasn't, hey, we left them behind. It wasn't, hey, Sean, budged and didn't do what he said. No, this is this is the truth. We all get in a room with the rank and file, with the representatives. We all sit in a room and we say, hey, and I'm proud to say this, that Sean, the representatives, Fred Zuckerman, they all sit in a room. They say, hey, don't be quiet here. I want to hear everybody. I want to know what you, and it's funny because you're kind of like, oh shit, I got to say something. Some people aren't so open to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he makes it very clear. Hey, what's our plan? And again, that's exactly what happened. And guess what? We told those two supplements we'll support until the very end, like Fred Zuckerman said, and that's where we're at. But moving forward, like I said, we have had a couple days of negotiating with them. We've got some TAs. With the company, more than we've ever gotten in the first week for the last couple contracts. Now, again, this is my first time in negotiation, but I will say this: plenty of people that have been around a long time have stated this is the first time we've ever seen something like this happen. Years now, and over several contracts, the company would come in, they'd waste our time. We all have either yards to be tending to, our locals to be tending to, and taking care of our membership. But we'd come here thinking we were going to negotiate, and this company would drag their fucking feet for months on end, wasting the local union's money, wasting our time, wasting our members' time, wasting their time to get their grievances resolved at home. And this time around, it's not happening.
That's awesome.
Sean made it very clear, and again, he put it. This is off the IBT website. We put it across the table. We shot our shot across the bow and made it very clear that in order for these negotiations to move forward, the 224 is going to be changed. There won't be a 224. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, as we go through negotiations, obviously times are going to get a little bit, crunch time's going to come down. I think we're going to get into the nitty gritty. But again, hey, hats off to Sean and Fred and our team and even our stewards and our members. It's been made very clear. Guess what? This isn't a vacation in Washington, D.C. You guys will be away from your family. You guys will be negotiating 10, 12, 14, 24 hours a day.
We've hit that. I think we hit 24 hours or 25 hours that one day.
Jesus Christ.
We hit 25 at Local 396, so it's nothing new to us down here. But and he made it very clear that as time goes on, we will start seeing longer weeks. You know what I mean? We'll start seeing. But hey, that's something we all know. We walk into as representatives of the union. That's something our membership, as rank and file, sit in these. In these negotiations, they were well notified that, hey, it's going to be a long, hard process.
Yeah.
But nothing comes easy in contract negotiations, and the days of bullshit and dragging things out with UPS is done and over with.
Nice.
Sean's going to hold their feet to the fire. Fred's going to hold their feet to the fire. He's going to make sure our subcommittees are taking care of things. And like I said, we're shooting for a hard contract. We're shooting for a hard. But I think with the strategy that we have and the pressure we're putting on the company, I think the ball's in their court. Like Sean says, the ball's in their court. I think it's made clear that, hey, you can give us a great contract well before July 31st and calm everybody's nerves, but get to work. Because if you think you're going to drag it out like you have the last couple of years or the last couple of contracts, it ain't going to happen.
Happening.
So, yeah, like I said, that's kind of where we're at. Like, again, I think I mentioned earlier, I just landed in Washington, D.C. I'm here. I will be here for the next 6 days negotiating with the National Negotiating Committee.
And you guys will be doing what, like 10 weeks straight?
So I'm here this week. I'm here this week. I get to come back to the local next week, and then from that point on, it's 8 weeks straight.
Wow.
8 weeks straight. No home. I mean, we'll try to get home as much as possible, but
brutal.
like I said, 8 weeks straight in Washington, D.C., pedal to the metal, balls to the wall, get this contract done, because at the end of the day, our members deserve a contract on time, something that addresses their concerns, something that rewards them for what they've done for this company. And, hey, if it takes us 8 weeks of straight negotiating, guess what? I'll be drinking a lot of coffee.
I thought you gave up Starbucks.
I try to just stick to black coffee with a little sugar now, but it ain't working. But like I said, I think we'll see some good movement based on the fact that Sean and Fred are gonna pressure UPS into giving us what we deserve.
Nice, dude. Nice. Well, like I said, I really do appreciate the update and the call. Thanks for jumping on. I'll let you go. I know it's 2 here. It's already 5:30 over there, so it's probably getting close to dinner time. But I appreciate you jumping on, dude, giving us an update. I'm sure all the guests appreciate it, as always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks, Eric.
Like I said, thank you guys for having me. Unfortunately, like I said, I apologize for not being there in person, but as always, thank you guys for getting the word out, like I said, and making sure that our membership has the opportunity to hear all the updates and all that kind of stuff. And as always, members, don't hesitate to call the local union, pick up your phone. We're always there. Ask questions before you start giving answers, and obviously, there's always 3 sides of the story. Yep. 2 sides, and then the middle, which is the truth. So get the truth. Again, let's work together. Now's not the time to be, bantering or beating the shit out of each other. It's the time to be, sticking together, and not just for UPS, but for all industries across the country. We have a great opportunity for unions to be recognized as a powerhouse in America again. And last thing we need to be doing is have our own members trying to work against us. But either way, like I said, I'll get off that subject. Thank you guys for having me on. You guys, stay strong, and I will, like I said, any other updates, I will get them to you as soon as possible.
Appreciate it, brother. Buckle your chin strap.
Right, cool. It's a full contact sport.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you.
Victor didn't get Victor Maneros didn't get no talk time.
I'll definitely throw a shout out to Vic. No talk time.
No talk time.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
I'll see you guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Later. All right. I mean, you guys heard it here. Obviously, gave a little bit of a 952 update on a couple issues. Gave a contract update, which is great. We have a TA in the Southwest and the West, which we've had for a couple weeks. National negotiation sounds like it's chugging along. So actually, I like a saying that Victor Monero said. During these contract negotiations, during fights, during strikes, you will be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You definitely will be out of your comfort zone. You will be pushed to the limit sometimes, but you got to keep your eye on the prize. Remember what you're fighting for, and it's not just you. It is the future generations behind you, the people that are going to put into your pension, as you're retired. So just keep it up, dude. Good luck to those guys out there who are representing us, all of us out here, obviously from the West Coast. And, we got some great representatives. All right, everybody. A little bit of a shorter show today, but we do appreciate you guys tuning in, liking, subscribing, sharing. Smash that like button, as they say. Thank you for everything. Again, last week to get your entries in for the jacket. Please do that. We just want involvement. If you know somebody that doesn't know about the giveaway, share it. Tag them in the post. Tag them in the Instagram post. If you don't know our Instagram, OCST.952 on Instagram.
On Instagram.
And email?
OCST.000@gmail.com. You have to go there anyways to submit your, request for the jacket, but leave us something in the comment or in the email. Email us about your barn. If you have questions about that contract, anything.
And I mean, honestly, in the email, I was having a thought the other day. I mean, show ideas. If you guys want to hear something, you guys are interested in a certain topic that you want us to go over, shoot, if you know somebody that wants to be on, maybe, possibly. I'm not promising you, but
hit us up.
Hit us up. We are here for you guys. At the end of the day, we're here for involvement. We're here for information.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you next time.